Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 3 of Star Wars Union, the podcast. I am host number 1, Alex. That is host number 2, Jarrett. And we have a very special guest today, and that is owner of Level Up Lightsabers, friendly neighborhood Master Allen.
Really glad to be here today.
I know. I'm happy to have you.
I'm happy to have you.
something I don't get to talk about too often because I always have to do videos in short form, but this is long form.
Mhm.
I'm not the sole owner. There's a handful of people that are close friends that backed me to get this project launched.
Okay.
And one of those people is my instructor, whom I have known since 1993.
Oh wow.
And so starting the lightsaber training site was something that was sort of an offshoot of having done samurai sword training. But being
Okay.
able to do samurai sword training started with my very first karate class. The martial arts system I primarily do is Shaolin Kempo karate, which means that it's a
Nice.
little bit of kung fu, a little bit of kempo, a little bit of karate, and a bunch of other stuff kind of swizzled up together.
Okay.
But the person that has been with me for my almost 3-decade martial arts journey was also one of the people that had the faith in me to put money behind me to help me get this launched, because otherwise I wouldn't be here to be talking to you guys about Level Up and the sabers that I sell and the training that I do and everything else. And so now that I'm in this opportunity, I shout outs to Master Joan and to the other folks that helped me get this far, because it's been a road.
Yeah, you gotta start somewhere. I mean,
Indeed.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so today's topic was basically
these beautiful things.
What the best lightsabers to start with would be, and moving on into like a collector's point of view. And from where I've started, the very first lightsaber I got was a saber from Rebel Sabers, a Initiate series even, so it's one of their most inexpensive lines. But I mean, I've dueled with them for a few months now, and they're still it's still kicking. It's really nice. It's just, and also the sound quality is great. And also this one compared to my other one has a much smoother swing to it, so it's very nice. And also the color choices, like most other RGB lightsabers, are just fantastic. And
it's come a long way.
Oh yeah.
In the the RGB saber world, it has come in terms of like what features you can expect. When I first started Level Up, a lot of these options didn't exist. Like sabers that had they weren't available, and a lot of what was available for dueling was basically flashlights. Which there's a lot to be said for a stunt saber because they're easy to repair, and you can put them through hell. But where we are from a technology standpoint now, the kind of features that you can put into something for relatively inexpensive is really, really high. And Rebel Sabers, and there's a bunch of companies out there that use the same manufacturer that I do. Like there are a lot of companies that sell sabers. Some of them sell sabers from multiple suppliers. Some of them only have one supplier. I've only got one supplier at the moment. But a vast majority of this stuff is all made by 4 or 5 companies in total. And that's part of why not this past holiday season, but the one before, all the lightsaber companies, or just about all of them, had especially long unexpected delays in fulfilling product, because so many of them, even if they do a lot of their own work in-house, still buy various components from a lot of these factories. And the effect that COVID was having in China at that time put huge delays on everybody's supply chain. And then we ran into this holiday season with the postal delays that a lot of people experienced. Like I had one customer had to wait 22 days to get a box.
I waited, it was almost 2 weeks, which wasn't bad. I mean,
but it's still
clearly I still
like,
got the product and I still
and
love
it,
it.
and it still works, which is great.
Yeah, exactly. Which is funny because I'm kind of notorious for being stupid. So it's stupid proof. I give it. I'm gonna give it Jared's official seal of stupid proofness.
Like the don't be a Jared by breaking your NeoPixel.
Yeah, I broke my NeoPixel. I was trying to figure out how it worked, and I didn't realize that the LED strip was glued to the tip. So I was like twisting the tip off, and I pulled it out, and I was like, something's
not
wrong.
supposed to happen.
Something just broke, and I like put it back onto the saber, and I tried turning it on, and it wouldn't. And I was like, "Oh, I'm an idiot."
Yeah. And that, and talking about the saber market, so NeoPixel is something that a lot of people value very highly. Like that's especially like you found me on TikTok, and NeoPixel is something that people talk about extensively on TikTok, and I understand why. There are things that NeoPixel can do that an RGB can't. For my purposes, for training purposes, NeoPixel is actually not a very good solution to my problems. And so for some people, it really isn't. And I like getting a chance. Like I'm going to offer NeoPixel eventually because there are people that it fulfills their needs very well. But for my needs, they really don't. And I was trying to supply a saber to make it as easy as possible for somebody to be my student. And so you guys have probably seen the videos where I trim blades and use different blade lengths and things like that.
Yeah.
The process I went through to get here, I'm now in a position where it's really easy for me to have more than one saber because that's what happens when you're a supplier. But as an instructor, that wasn't a good position for me to be in, because if I was getting a bunch of sabers for me to use, then that was fewer sabers I had available to students. And so the easy solution for the different types of things that I wanted to be able to do was just to buy more blades. And blades aren't very expensive and they're very easy to trim. And so rather than buying special cut blades from the various companies that all sell blades, because everybody does, I'm going to soon too. I just like, I get a bunch of blades at one time, especially if they were doing sales and things like that. And then I could cut them to length to what I need. Because I really commonly use 28-inch blades in a staff format, 30, 32-inch blades when I'm doing what's called Filipino martial arts, which is like Eskrima, Kali, those sorts of applications. And then I like to use a 32 when I'm doing the Kenjutsu, which is samurai sword. But all of my blades ship with a 36-inch blade because that's the longest one my manufacturer does. And there are some people that, for sport purposes, as long a blade as you're allowed to use is a really powerful thing in competition, because reach is a really difficult advantage to overcome. That's part of why you see in some of the tournaments, they'll have like a specials category for anybody that's using like a non-standard, single saber. And so it's everything from spears and like pretty much any saber loadout you can think of is ways that people equip in those in that category. And that category is normally dominated by people that are using spear or some version of spear. Because again, its reach is just so dominant, especially if relative experience is about the same. Because one of the ways that you overcome reach is with more experience. So if the other person's got the same amount of experience as you, then it's a much tougher road to hoe. But that's like, I know you're holding the XP boost, and it looks like you've got it in silver. It's kind of hard to tell through Zoom.
Yeah, it's the silver.
Yeah, and so one of the things I really like about that handle, in addition to the fact that it's got good hand feel, like that's if I was just offering what I use, that would be the only thing on the site. It would just be the XP boost. I wouldn't have anything else. But the problem is if you do that, like some people have different needs. But also on things like and this is sort of like how the sausage is made. On Facebook, the way that Facebook displays products, if you don't have enough products, it looks really weird. And it also makes people feel a lot more like you're not genuine. And there's a lot of problems with that in the saber industry. There have been a lot of fake companies. There have been
and I
just
have
a few
fallen
months.
victim to one of them.
Were you one of the people that got duped by Camino? Or
Yep.
no?
Yep, I was. I waited, and I kind of, as soon as I got blocked on Twitter, I said, nope, pulling the payment right now. I don't care.
Oh, I'm glad you got your money back.
I went straight to PayPal and I said, give me my money back.
Yeah.
I went to both PayPal and my bank ended up giving me the money back too. So my bank took the money back again. I was like, wait, what? I was like, oh, I got the money back twice. That's why.
I got it twice. No problem. Yeah.
I'm like, okay, we're good.
And the nice thing too is like half a decade ago, the ways that financial institutions protected people from fraud weren't as quick. Now, like if you call PayPal or you call your bank, they're going to give you the money back right away, and then they are going to sick their hounds on, whatever merchant is being fraudulent. And the lawyers of the financial industry are not people I want after me. Those people don't need to sleep. Those people are not getting billed hourly. They are they are salary. They are on retainer. They were bored, and now they have something to do, and it's you. Intellectual property lawyers, also people I don't want after me, because it will scorch earth. But that's the XP boost. One of the things I really like about it, and actually you can do this right in front of you. So the XP boost is about this much longer than the bonus XP, and there's a piece on the bottom that you can just take off. And so like there's the end cap, which is your staff coupler, but then there's another piece that's connected to, and you can just take that piece off, and then you can put the end cap back on, and now you've got a handle that's a shorter length. So if you're doing, especially if you're doing one-handed applications, sometimes for some people the XP boost handle is a little bit long, and so then you can just take that piece off and you're golden. At the moment, I don't have any of our individual parts listed. That's the goal for that was originally going to be, second quarter, but we're delayed on a bunch of stuff, and so that'll be sometime this year. I just don't know when, and I don't want to promise it and be wrong again. But like that little piece that you just took off, the XP boost is $20 more than the bonus XP. That's it, right there. And if you want to buy that piece by itself, it's going to retail at more than $25. You might as well.
Yeah.
And that's so like every time
I got this one was because I might as well. I mean, the longer handle it's going to be easier for me to do all of the spinny stuff that I know how to do, because I remember I had a conversation with you in your comments, because I was on armed drill in my JROTC unit for 3.5 years. And it's all the same stuff. I mean, it's all about relaxing the upper body and relaxing the wrist and letting the weight and the momentum do the work. And
figuring out where the balance is to help you do that. Because it's like depending on the object. I need to bring Will It Spin back, because that's really all that was. Is just like
I still can't believe you got that folding chair to work like that.
I'm gonna try again. I just need to find one that's just a little bit more narrow. Like that, it didn't matter where I held it.
Yeah,
I couldn't have it clear my body, so it was like it
just I wonder if you could like go to like Walmart and get like one of the like cheap plastic ones. I wonder if that one would be.
I'm sure there's something that exists. I just gotta find it, right? And then I'll buy it just so that I can make that video.
Yeah, but when it comes to balance in the sabers, I really like the stalwart. I'll actually grab this one since I don't have to worry about the blade.
That's Rebel, right?
Rebel sabers. Yeah, it's very, like, the grip is very nice, especially up at the emitter where it has that little indent, so I can rest my hand there. And then if I ever want to two-hand it, I can just rest my hand down here and that kind of stuff. And the balance in it is very nice, especially with any, like, the 3/4 inch blades or inch blades, which I'm planning on getting 3/4 inch blades, because the group that I duel with uses the more flexible ones for less pain and such, because these inch blades, they don't flex much.
They don't have as much flex. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And the 7/8, especially for people that are younger that are training, obviously this doesn't apply to you guys, but if there's anybody listening that's got younglings, the 7/8 inch blades are also a lot lighter, and so you can actually
old school.
Oh yeah,
flick out lightsaber.
Which and the flick out lightsabers are great, but like the handles are so freaking chunky, right?
I know, I can't even get my hand all the way. I mean, I have
I
small
remember
hands,
being a
but,
kid and thinking how bullshit that was.
I mean, it's funny because you look. I gave this to my 3-year-old brother. My 3-year-old brother, he is tall. Like he's in the 97th percentile for height.
That's a big kid.
He is half of my height. I am 18. I am 5'6", and he is already taller than my belly button. And I gave this to him, and he's sitting there holding it like this, like waving it around.
Because it's so big, they can't have good control over it, which sometimes is a good thing. But I was able to give.
I don't know. He already hit the dogs once.
No. But the stalwart that you just demoed, because again, Rebel and Crimson and a lot of we use the same manufacturer. And I'll talk about some of the advantages of using a reseller rather than trying to deal with the manufacturer directly here in a second. But that's my bonus XP handle. I gave my daughter one of those for her birthday. I trimmed the blade down because if the blade's too long, it's really hard for a shorter person to manipulate it because it's harder for them to have the leverage. And if the blade is too big a gauge, then it adds weight, and the weight makes it harder for him to control as well. And so I went like a 7/8 inch blade and trimmed the length down. And there's a little adapter piece that will let you put a 7/8 inch blade in the saber, and then it's good to go. And so then she gets to do lightsaber stuff with dad, which she loves. I did the same thing with my nephew for his birthday. He got to have a little bit longer handle because he's a giant. But that customizability, that easy swapping is something that RGB gives you, and doing that with NeoPixels is very difficult. So like you told the story of taking the bottom off of the blade and accidentally severing your LED strip. Something that people don't realize with a NeoPixel handle is if you change the length of the blade, then if cool effects that you have programmed may not necessarily work. So the way that a NeoPixel functions is all the guts, all the electronics are in here, and then this is an RGB, but in a NeoPixel there's 3 strips of LED lights inside the blade that it looks more or less like Christmas lights. I have is this the broken one? There you go, perfect.
Yeah.
But so the strips are inside there. Well, there's a certain number of LEDs on the strip, and so the controller tells a certain number of LEDs to light up. And so if you're programmed for a shorter blade and you swap in for a longer one, then you're going to have this dead spot at the end that just won't light up because the controller isn't telling those LEDs to light up, because the controller doesn't know how long this is. And then if you program like really cool blade effects, like a flame traveling the length or certain types of color change or other things like that, if you put a shorter blade in and you don't change any of that programming, well, then whatever's happening in the section of the blade that the controller thinks is there, that isn't,
it's not going to happen.
Nothing's happening. And so, especially if you have like, there's a lot of them that have a flame blade look, which is basically as you swing it, there'll be sections of it that light up orange and kind of move. So it looks like a sword that's on fire being swung around, and they film awesome. They look really cool.
I've seen some of those on TikTok, and it's just wow.
But if you swap to a shorter blade, it looks substantially less cool because it doesn't work right. And since blade swappability is something that I value, that was something that like I basically, as I was looking for manufacturers, and it's obvious that there are a lot of other companies that went through a similar process I did, where it's okay, here are all these manufacturers, their stuff does these things. Here's what I want to be able to sell. And a lot of us landed on the same manufacturer because they make really good stuff and they support their product well. But the swappability, the customizability, that was something that I valued. And so like I basically made a list, and this is for anybody out there that's thinking about starting their own business, Saber or otherwise. When you're looking for a manufacturer for something, you want to prioritize, well, okay, I don't want to just find a random product. I want to know what's valuable to me and sort of prioritize those things, and then find the manufacturer that is providing me those things at a price that I think is good, that I agree to. And so my sabers, like my list was, because this is what I want my students to be able to have, so that somebody can buy one saber and then they can start. And if it's somebody that wants to be able to become a collector, there are a bazillion ways to go about doing that. But from the training standpoint, because as a teacher, what I wanted to be able to do was provide as easy an entry as possible. And so color change, because one of the things people attach to really strongly is the color that they want to be able to do. And then for you guys who you qualify as creators, well, if you're a creator and you want to be able to do different lightsaber related videos of any kind, well, being able to have one saber that can be different colors for your videos, because if you're at the end of your driveway and it's dark and you're spinning the thing around, nobody can see the handle. So it doesn't matter if it's one character's handle or another character's handle, because it doesn't show up. But what does show up is the color. And so then you can get one thing. And let's say you're a cosplayer. Well, then you can do dark side videos, you can do light side videos. And you got one thing. And that's sort of what I wanted to be able to carry. And that's why I ended up with who I did. Color change was important. Mute was actually the second thing on my list. Because if you're teaching a room full of people and they've all got sabers on and they can't turn the sound off, it's really hard to understand people.
It's really nice to have.
My parents have yelled at me a couple times, turn your volume down. Okay, I'm sorry. Give me a second.
My bad.
I have to sit there and wait to get loud sound. Okay. Softer sound. Okay. There we go. Okay, we're good.
No sound. Boom. All right. And so color change, mute, and hand feel. Those were my top three. And then, and then there are other features that were important. Like I like flash on flash for filming because it looks cool. And different sound fonts, like being able to do that was cool. But the hand feel.
My second
having 9
favorite
sound fonts is what I think really drew me, especially your sabers. Because when I bought my NeoPixel from Vire Sabers, it only came with 8. Or not 8, it came with 6.
Might have been 6, yeah.
It was 6,
and that's
which is fine, but the fact that I can get an RGB saber for cheaper with cooler sounds.
And how the sausage is made, we'll do that again. I'm pretty sure Vire uses my manufacturer as well. And one of the other problems is the two biggest are TXQ and LGT. And their product looks incredibly similar, but they are different suppliers. And so there are some people that deal in TXQ and there's some people that deal in LGT. I work with LGT. But a lot of the TXQ stuff looks very, very similar because there's only so many ways to make a flashlight. We'll be honest about it.
They're fancy flashlights.
But so the electronics you got from Vire are the older electronics. So at the time that you bought, that was the new electronics. Now the new electronics has 9. Odds are in a couple of years, maybe not even a couple of years, it might be sooner than that, it'll be 11 or it'll be 12. Like I
bought the Vire saber about a month before I bought the one from you.
Well, and that might be, then that's probably a function of what they had in stock and on hand.
I think that was just kind of what their deal is with their they call it the Eco Pixel, so it's the non-profi board. NeoPixel. It's just which I was like, I don't want to spend $500 on a lightsaber. I want something that looks cool. And then I went and broke it. So I mean,
the lightsaber is laughing at me.
Well-timed sound effect. That was great. That was great.
I'm gonna have to figure out a way how to amplify that. I didn't want to go back and edit that. Future me, remember.
So you just sample it, and then that'll be an episode 4 somewhere. You just drop it in. It'll be great.
Although I think my favorite sound font with the voice lines is obviously Obi-Wan's lightsaber because I have the high ground.
Yeah,
it's such a wonderful thing to be able to have right before you're gonna pop off with somebody too, right?
But I love the sound. So the first one I got, so the first core had a bit of an issue. Mainly it was the battery connection and the red connection. If you ever saw my TikTok on that. it was, let me open up this one.
Now, is this one mine, or is this one somebody else's?
This one is Rebel Sabers. I don't have one from you yet, and I really want to get one. I really want to get one next time I get money.
I want to send you a sticker.
Oh,
He's got a shirt. I'm not saying that, you know, two of these things are like the other, but
but yeah, anyway,
you're the odd man out.
I am.
Come on, Alex.
But the first stalwart I got, I had it for about a month and a half, and I started experiencing issues with the core. And I think the reason was, you made a TikTok on this actually, Ellen, and that was the blade being slightly away from the core, because if you have it on the core, it's gonna shock the core. And I watched that, I was like, that makes a lot of sense. So since then, I've been keeping the blades just that small bit away from the core.
Just give it a little bit of space. And
yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I was working with somebody for a little while that wanted to make a saber cane. And one of the things that is a limitation is, like, if it's getting if the LED is getting that impact over and over and over again, it'll crack, it'll fracture. And so you can crack your lens or a couple other things like that. And then if you experience, especially like, I've had it happen with a couple of different sabers where if I'm practicing tosses that I'm not exactly ready for, and it lands straight down, because then there's just so much kinetic energy that'll go straight up into the electronics if you don't have that space. And that was actually where I realized that was something I needed to start doing. And so the XP boost, again, and this is the content of that TikTok you just referenced. It has the two screw points that are pretty far apart, and so it makes it really easy to keep a space between the top of the LED and the bottom of the blade, and have the blade be really, really secure. And the bonus XP has two, but they're a little bit closer together. And one of the things that you'll experience, especially if you do stuff with a lot of catches, or when you switch to your dueling group, always bring a wrench with you, because your screws are going to loosen up in the process of dueling. And it's absolutely worth, let me see which drawer it's in now. I just inverted the arrangement in my garage for spacing. It's in a box. I haven't gotten it back over the the tool table yet. But spend $40, get an electric, like a little electric screwdriver, and it's a 2mm wrench, and it's perfect, because they're not that expensive, and it just makes everything go faster. If you, especially if you're dueling, because like you want to be able to get everything working again and back together as quickly as you can.
But yeah, something I've definitely experienced with my lightsabers is that both cores are different, even though they have the same manufacturer and such. Because this one doesn't have as smooth as a swing as this one. And
the newer electronics, it's really good. It's really good.
Yeah, this one has the clear case on the core. This one has the white one. And I actually used this one for the first time in dueling today. I also wore armor for that, the armor I purchased recently, because I needed to break it in. And and it's fun. Oh, I loved it. I was the only person with armor, and some people wanted to say, we have to hit him in the soft spots for it to count. Like, no, if you hit me, you hit me. I'm like, no. But
you're not Mandalorian. You're not wearing Beskar. You're just.
I have to do stuff tomorrow, guys.
Yeah. But yeah, I have a lot of fun with it, and especially with this lightsaber having a more fluid swing to it compared to this one. I actually have to put some oomph into it. Here, let me. And the sound quality is also a tad bit different.
Right, because the speaker is different. You'll actually notice if you look. So the older speaker is black. And it's got an outer ring and a center ring. The newer speaker it's silver. And so it's got it registers the deeper like sound ranges a lot better. And so like your sound ends up being a lot clearer.
Yeah, like with my older one, it can hardly handle the Darksaber sound
That
because
one's rough.
it's
That
just
one's
it's so like it distorts this speaker a lot, and then with
it
this
distorts
one,
my ears. I hate that stuff.
Yeah,
I know some people really love it. God, I hate that.
Yeah,
stuff.
I'm not a huge fan of the Darksaber. I don't get me wrong, I love the Darksaber, but just the font, there's kind of.
I love
it's
I
hard to
love
use.
it,
Go ahead.
but
Go
I
ahead.
can't. I love it, but I can't use that sound.
Yes.
Although my two favorite sounds are the Cal Kestis lightsaber, which is mainly
I
just
really
because
like that one.
Yeah, that one's.
it's just a. I
Yeah,
love
it's
the
pretty.
Yeah,
It's like it's
and
all the stuff to the font is really good. That one's
yeah,
that one's the one I use most often. That one in the Kylo
yeah.
Ren.
And my second favorite is.
The Force is with you, young Skywalker.
It's definitely Vader,
But you are not a Jedi.
but yeah, it's just a nostalgic feeling. But
Well, and the startup sound is great,
and
right?
that yeah,
It's because there's a sharpness to the initial sound before
yeah,
it, and so it's like that startup sound because it's Darth Vader's a horror movie villain,
yeah, he is.
right? Like that.
Oh wait,
There's that.
Rogue One. All I need to say.
And it's the way that Jason has his music or Freddy has his music or whatever, and there's sound effects that go with those villains. That lightsaber ignition for Vader, like that's a part of it. The sound cuts, but it doesn't cut like the dark saber where you hear that like that high pitch, then it's like, that's unpleasant, that's nails on a chalkboard. Vader's it cuts through silence. And so you got the depth of you got the depth of the breathing, and then the sharpness of the sound, like those two things together, it's a brilliant, like a brilliant piece of film construction.
Mm-hmm.
When you really think about it, the way that those things contribute to just make him terrifying.
Yeah.
And the way they did it in Rogue One is just
they gave him the justice he needed.
Oh yeah. I feel like they did the same with Luke when he was fighting the Dark Troopers.
There are a lot of shots when you and there are a bunch of people that have done these edits where you see parts of it side by side where they intentionally mimicked
the Vader's
like stances and some other things like that. So like there's intentional parallels there, which I thought was really great.
Yeah. I also another thing about lightsabers. Sorry for derailing that.
It's okay.
We're
just talking about Star Wars. It's all the same stuff.
Yeah, but the Count Dooku sound font compared to the Darth Vader sound font, Count Dooku's is just a tad bit up pitched, and the saber clash and saber lockup are just different sounds. It's not much difference, but it definitely brings a variety into that specific sound.
Yeah, they're all really unique, and which is one of the things I really appreciate about the company. So like in the 9 sound font, you have the Rey Skywalker.
Yes,
which is the sound for the saber that she makes that we see at the end of the Rise of Skywalker.
You have something I want.
There's the dark saber, but there's a second Rey sound. Originally, I thought it was Palpatine, but it's actually the dark Rey, the staff saber. It's that ignition sound, and it's that sound font.
Is that what the font is?
Okay.
Ooh.
So, but yeah, that Rey sound, I love it.
Well, it's got like this ghostliness to it, right? Like the ambient. I really like the way that one sounds just sort of on its own. I like the Cal Kestis better. Like that one's Cal Kestis and Kylo Ren are my two. Those are the two I use all the time.
Yeah, I like the Leia one too, but it's just after a prolonged amount of time, it's just like, eh.
And to me, the Leia, the Kenobi, and the Luke are really, really similar. And they're close enough together that like you can a lot of the other ones you can really tell the ambient apart. Those three, and part of this is because I'm almost 40. Your ears are different than mine. But the Kenobi, the Luke, and the Leia are like the ambient to them is really, really similar. And so like for the most part, I choose other ones because they just feel distinct by comparison.
Yeah.
That said, I actually had an affiliate. Side note, are you guys affiliates yet? We got to have that talk. We'll do that after we're done.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have an affiliate, and we'll talk about what affiliates are here in a second for all the folks at home. That got my handle, the General, which is based off Leia's, and posted a photo to her Twitter, which Hamill himself liked the photo, and her Twitter popped off for like a solid 2 days because of having that Saber handle. And especially talking to her and everything else, because I haven't released that on the site yet. But she and I had a wonderful conversation. She's actually also got a podcast. But she and I had a wonderful conversation. She talked about a whole lot of different things, but also like just how important seeing Leia the Jedi was to her as a female Star Wars fan, and how big a deal that was, and because of being connected to Star Wars for such a long time, because she goes back like I do. And so I was like, all right, I don't know when I'm going to have these on the site, but let's get you on, so that then when they get on the site, you can be like, hey, you should get one of these from Level Up Lightsaber. And then her Twitter exploded. But the way that affiliate programs work, folks at home, this is for you. Podcasters, this is for you. Manufacturers, products, and all kinds of things. Affiliate is basically this. Most of the time they're free. And so you sign up through the company that's selling a thing. And then you may have a special code, or you may have a unique link. Most of the time you have a unique link because it's the easiest way for it to stay honest. And on your podcast page or your social medias or whatever, your affiliate link goes there, so that any of your fans, they click the affiliate link, and then they go, and if it's a product that they're going to purchase, they buy it, and then you guys get credit for the sale. And it works like a commission sales job, except it's also a way for like a business like me to, I can take my business and help support your podcast, and I get to make some money. But you guys also, like the way that our affiliate program is set up, the margin, I give you guys a bigger chunk of it, because I didn't have to work to get somebody to make that purchase. And so, especially like you guys are in episode 3, well, it's time to start thinking about this. You can Google search affiliate programs, and anybody that's watching that also has a podcast or is growing on social media, it's worth your time to do. Look for affiliate programs that are things that you are interested in, that you support, that you like what they do, or you like how they work, or you think they're valuable to people. And normally, because it's free to sign up, you find the ones that are important to you. And here on TikTok, we see people with link trees and beacons, and there's a handful of things that allow you to take one link onto your social media profile that then bring people to a collection of links. And so whatever your affiliate programs are,
I have a link tree in mind that links to the Star Wars Union Discord, which I don't know if Alex told you about it, but we are.
I don't think I'm in your Discord yet. We need to do that.
No. Yeah, man.
Yeah. So when me and him first met, it was after his lightsaber broke, and I reached out to him and I said, "Hey, I was planning on just doing a lightsaber giveaway when I hit 5K."
It was literally just that.
And
that's how we met.
Because of this, I'm gonna send you a mystery saber from Dark Wolf Sabers, because
it should be coming in soon.
It's some point. I bought it. I paid for it last week. They took my money. I haven't gotten the shipping information yet. The same thing happened when I got mine, but
that's and especially for smaller shops, that's pretty common, because like for me, I don't print the shipping label until I'm going to box the product.
Right.
And so sometimes that might be a couple of days. And so until I print the shipping label, there's not a shipping number to send to you, the customer.
Right.
And so sometimes, somebody will make a purchase and they'll get a shipping number within 2 or 3 days. But other times it'll take longer than that. When I went viral in December, there were a lot of people that waited a very long time to get a shipping number, because I had to wait a very long time to get product.
Yeah, so I was order like 358 or something like that.
Oh man,
Jeez.
Right in there. So that was right after you blew up.
Well, and keep in mind, like somewhere in the neighborhood of the first 100, like 358 makes it sound like a whole lot of lightsabers. Somewhere in the first 100 was all the testing. Because every time somebody, like, if they put a product in the cart and it stays there long enough, it gets a number.
Mm-hmm.
And so like 358 makes it sound like,
yeah, but it was like,
especially at that point, right? Like
it was right after you like started to blow up, and I was like, oh, ooh, it's gonna be a little bit, which is fine. I don't mind.
And it worked out.
I know I'm getting a quality product. I know that obviously you're awesome. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Yeah. Thank you. And I'm findable.
You are one of the people that I think that most Star Wars fans should strive to be, instead of being the gatekeeping community that we are, which it's unfortunate, but you know, it happens in every community. We just have to learn how to get past it.
And we do stuff like this where we focus on the positive instead of fixating on it.
Exactly. You always you can't be a pessimist, because if you're a pessimist, then what's the point?
Well, and also, like, you know, like there are a large number of people in fandoms in general. Like we don't have to make it about the Star Wars fandom, but fandoms in general, that if there's something they don't like, that's the only thing they have conversations about in their fandom. And then that makes it not just frustrating for other people that share their opinion, because then they collectively they magnify their negativity. But for people that enjoy it, it's like they can't talk about what they love without being told that somebody else hated it. And especially with art, like there's going to be people that don't like the same stuff. I just did that video earlier this week, right? Like
like, you know, like there's people. I'm going to reference our D&D session from today. Alex, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about.
All right.
So he's back to the Discord.
You guys are my kind of guys. This is awesome. I'm so glad that you invited me.
Yeah, so he made a TikTok about how he wanted to make a Discord server for Star Wars D&D, and I said, hey, I've made Discord servers before. I know what to do. If you need help, let me know. And he's like, dude, help me. I'm like, okay, fine. Yeah,
I literally had no clue what I was doing.
So I built the Discord. I built the Discord server up. We started playing Star Wars D&D, and you know, you Last Jedi is one of your favorite movies, right? If I remember that correctly. So you remember the hyperdrive, the boom? Well, our party was cornered by 3 Sith dreadnoughts. And I play a Mandalorian scout that also happens to be Force sensitive, and I had the bright idea of turning myself in, aka I was going to strap as many explosives to my fighter as I could, and line the ship up, start the hyperdrive, and pull the ejection as fast as I could to get out.
That seems like it wouldn't work.
I rolled a nat 20.
It did.
I rolled a nat 20, so I got really lucky.
Haha! The dice say I can do it.
But it was
I told him to make
threw me through space, and I was like, oh god.
Yeah, I told him to make a dexterity save. He rolls a nat 20. Well, shit.
All right.
I mean,
well, but that's the other thing too, because like there are a lot of people that will hear a tabletop role-playing story like that, and they're like, oh, that wouldn't work because reason, or they shouldn't have let you do that because reason, or whatever.
Who cares? It's
The whole point is to have a character that you are pretending to be doing awesome stuff.
Exactly.
My character got slapped by his mom. I mean,
also, if you didn't know, Darth Corvus, the big bad guy of Star Wars Union, is a Gungan.
Yeah, he's a Gungan. Yeah, we found this out not today's
Darth
session,
Jar Jar
last
lives.
week's session. We're sitting there. My character was sitting on the ship, and because he's Force sensitive, and because he's learning how to use his Force abilities for the Jedi and the party, and yada yada yada. The two
story,
Jedi don't pass out. I passed the hell out because my character was drunk on the ship, drowning in sorrow because most of his family is dead. Because Mandalorian.
And D&D, that's
exactly. And I wanted to give him kind of that Anakin aesthetic, kind of like, I'll tip to the dark side. Maybe I won't. Who knows, right?
I'm a sad boy, and I have sad boy feelings.
Yeah, exactly. But he was sitting there, failed the Constitution check, passed out. The other two Jedi are sitting there talking to Darth Corvus, and he pulls his hood off, and he's
pulls his hood back.
Gungan.
He's a Gungan.
They go tell the other Mandalorian in the party, and just laugh.
Also, the companion droid of this party is an HK unit that has had a complete moral change. Mind you, this story takes place 1500 BBY. HK units were very popular in around 3000 BBY. So HK is pretty old. And Jared and I have made have done one-shots with HK in them in era of the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
so
cool.
He's over 3,000 years old.
Yeah, so and I run one-shots, and if I'm being completely honest, I had zero D&D experience coming into this.
And he's doing phenomenal.
Awesome.
I don't know.
That's great.
I'm just
I've
been
like
crap out of my ass. I mean,
I don't know if you guys are familiar, because this is this may be a generational thing, but maybe not. Like it's always hard to tell what nerddoms people are in, and I never want to make assumptions. But Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yes.
Right. And so like you have your own Marvin.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you know,
That's
from a
what
personality
HK
standpoint, I don't know, but like you have your own Marvin.
Yeah.
HK is Marvin.
Yeah, so HK went through Revan, the events of Star Wars Union. Are we including him in the Three Dragons campaign?
He maybe.
Okay, so he might be in
Why
another
not?
campaign.
At that point, like, no, he's your mascot.
Actually, yeah, you know what? Yeah.
Yeah, he
HK is the mascot.
Yeah. I had him survive Order 66.
He was under a restriction for 17 years.
Yeah.
So he had a clone trooper stuck in his hand the entire time.
Because the clone trooper shot at his Jedi, who was played by my wonderful girlfriend.
It was a very sad session. It was very sad.
Because she hasn't seen Star Wars. I've been trying to get her to watch Star Wars, and that was finally what got her to want to watch Star Wars. Was she was crying after that. I'm like, you think that was bad? Just wait till we get done watching Clone Wars and we rewatch episode 3. Like,
but yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, he also helped it. He grabbed an Inquisitor by the mouth and shoved a lightsaber through his back.
Yep, literally just bop.
Like,
and this is what RPGs are for.
Yes.
It's like
so utterly random that it works.
Like
well, but
HK
also
70...
like it's you have stuff like this. You have HK where it's like you have this character that it's like, you know what, we're just gonna make it canon. This dude's been through everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and also you know things like, because you're not gonna like anybody that imagines themselves in the Star Wars universe or the Batman universe or the Spider-Verse or whatever, like nobody wants to be just somebody walking down the street drinking a coffee. Like if you're going to play a video game, you want to be a superhero. You don't want to be somebody carrying a newspaper.
Yeah.
Like, you know, or scrolling their phone waiting for the bus. Like that's not who you want to be. That would be a boring video game.
You want to be the guy that blows stuff up. I mean,
yeah,
that was my whole idea
People
behind
with
Daisy,
buses.
who's my character. I mean,
mm-hmm.
blowing stuff up left and right, even though he's completely socially awkward because that's just the way I made him.
Yeah,
you know,
it's so.
But
good
I'm going to use this Volkswagen as a weapon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also,
I'm going to stab this guy with a chair. How are you going to accomplish that? Chairs aren't very sharp. I'm going to stab him really hard.
That's how about Kellen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad is in my campaign, and he's playing so we have 2 Mandalorians and 2 Jedi in this campaign.
So everybody gets along great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, yeah, we do.
Surprisingly, yes. And they're
Well, if the
currently
players
on
can, then
Mandalore.
the characters can. Yeah.
They're currently on Mandalore.
That's
And,
fine. That's fine.
The Mandalore, which is a non-canon Mandalore, said, "You know what? If you like them, I'll make sure they're not hurt."
Yeah,
So,
the advantage of my character's background being Vizsla Clan Special Forces.
Well, and also that's the like, if there's a game that the game that you want to play in the story you want to be in,
mm-hmm.
you can find story ways to not have to deal with problems that aren't going to be fun for anybody. Because if you have 4 players that want to play characters that would be in conflict
Mm-hmm.
because of some reason, but you want them to not be in conflict so that you can have a different kind of story,
Yeah.
that's super easy to just like, you can hand wave around that. You don't have to fixate on having your characters solve problems that you don't want to have to solve.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that these are for. I'm very grateful for a D&D group that I am in. We actually are about to dabble with the Star Wars, the Star Wars build. I'm going to try my hand at a Guardian. We'll see how it goes.
Oh
Yeah,
yes.
that's business. He's a Scout Guardian because multi-class.
So.
And I know we're pretty close to the time where you guys like I don't want to be.
Oh yeah. Speaking of that, we should wrap up the video wrap up the podcast for today.
Yeah.
For all of you who are listening and or watching, whatever you're doing, thank you so much for sticking with us for however long we've been doing this, a few months now.
Yeah.
And thank you so much to our special guest today. And do be sure to check out his shop and all that other kind of stuff.
All the links will be in the bio of the YouTube video or the description of the episode of the podcast.
Yes. And be sure to follow him on TikTok at Level Up Lightsabers.
I'll throw that also in the descriptions of everything. Even
Yeah.
the title. Hey.
Links for all the things.
Yes.
Links for everything.
Things.
All right. Well, everyone, as usual, we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening and watching.